This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have a return guest. Of course, 2020 was an awful year, but I did do 30 interviews before the station shut down on us. Station is still shut down. Here we are on February the 27th, 2021. And I've been able to counter COVID this year because of Zoom, thank goodness. And I had one of my guests said to me, if she can do Zoom, I can do Zoom. That's almost always a tall order since I'm a slow learner, but I got the jump on this pretty well. But among those 30 guests I had on in 2020 was a budding young filmmaker named Hayden Newman, who is my guest today. How do you do, Hayden?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Things are starting to open up around here with the whole COVID situation, and I've been going to the movies once a week since last July. So we got kind of the jump on it here in New Brunswick, Canada. So I don't know what it's like where you are.
Well, here I'm in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Things are starting to pick back up,
Mm-hmm.
slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, life is slowly but surely getting back to normal.
Yeah, it's we got the jump on it here, but I didn't get to do conventions or travel last year. I work as a cleaner. That's what I do for work. And that's one of the big reasons why I have not been supporting a lot of these indie films because well, I got to try to pay for my rent every month and my background does not look as festive as yours. I like the banner up top and the Selena poster there to the side. You know, I'm not there yet.
Well, I actually got to go to my first convention post COVID last weekend. And I was very impressed with the way it was all handled. It was a lot smaller than the normal conventions, obviously, but everything, they checked temperatures at the door, they had sanitation stations everywhere. It was very, you felt protected as best you could.
Okay, well here's a question then. Um, did you? Because here's the thing with me. When I do conventions, and I've been doing them since 2017. I've been to three horror ramas in Toronto and one Toronto Comic Con, and that's the height of my convention going. But when I approach autograph tables, obviously I want to get my picture taken with the performer.
Mhm.
Generally, you want to be able to put your arm around the performer. Were you able to do that?
Yes, most of them were completely comfortable with that.
Oh, that's great.
It
That's
was
great.
left up to the actor's discretion.
Okay.
But yeah, most of them were very comfortable with that. They were comfortable with taking their mask off. They would Everyone that I come in contact with would have rather taken their mask off. So, and let's see, who all did I see last weekend? Dave Sheridan, Felissa Rose, um, Amelia Kincaid, Linnea Quigley. I mean,
I've met Linnea at Horrorama 2018, and I had her on the show in on my birthday the year after. So very familiar with Linnea. I've heard great things about Felissa at cons.
yes, Felissa is amazing. She takes her time with each person.
Hmm.
Even if she has a line, she takes as much time as needed, and she's just a lovely, lovely person.
Oh,
Lovely.
that's great. That is great. Well, I'm glad to hear things are starting because Horrorama is the one I generally go to, and that's a smaller con too. But that was a smaller con even before COVID. And I like the smaller cons because you do get a little more time with the guest. I find without having to, like, I've been to one Comic Con and it was fun, but very crowded. And I waited 19 minutes in a lineup for Ron Perlman, and there comes to a point where it's like, the smaller cons are much more fun.
Yes, exactly.
hmm So I do like the smaller cons like that, and you get that FaceTime better. So that is great. That is great. But how did you? That was your first con?
That was my first con since COVID started.
Oh,
I've
you've been
been
to
to
other ones.
Yes, I've been to other ones, but that was my first con back since COVID started.
So who else have you met? Who else all made an impression on you?
Um, well, I've been to so many of them. Adrienne King was from Friday the 13th. She's amazing. Heather Langenkamp, uh, Nev Campbell was probably the most, I would say, nerve-wracking meeting as I was waiting to meet her.
Does she
But
have those? Does she have those cute little nose freckles in person?
she does, and she's a very genuine, laid back, loving person. She appreciates her fans. She's another one, takes time with them. Um, you know, I've met so many different people. I haven't had really a bad experience.
I've had Adrienne King on the. Actually, she was my very second interview I've done, and I like Adrienne a lot. So the last interaction I had with her was um, last year. She sent me the script for Friday the 13th. It was
Yes.
one of the things. I don't know whether you ordered one, but I ordered one, and yeah, it was pretty interesting reading through that.
I haven't. I know she sells them. I don't know if she sold out of them or not. I've thought about ordering it, but I haven't. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do. I did order that, but well, I'm glad to hear you had that experience. That sounds very promising here, because here, like I said, our theaters are open, and um, I plan to go see Tom and Jerry this weekend because I like Chloe Grace Moretz, and watching her interact with cartoons kind of takes you back to that Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Bedknobs and Broomsticks and Mary Poppins times.
exactly, exactly.
I didn't include Space Jam in that because I didn't care for that one,
Uh,
but Who Framed
yeah,
Roger Rabbit's a staple, I think. Did it well, so yeah. But nonetheless, I know that you are the director of Reunion from Hell,
yes,
and I was involved with that early on. I know there's been a lot of changes to it since. I had you come on here today because I know last time I interviewed you, which was in 2020, um, there was a lot of cast that were in the movie ended up having to leave for some reason or another, and and you had to do a lot of repreparations,
yes, yes,
Yeah,
I did.
yep. So as a first-time filmmaker, how much of a struggle was that, and how much of a struggle was it to get back into the thick of things, especially for a first-time filmmaker?
Um, I took each thing as it's, you know, it is what it is. I hate that it happened, and I've got to keep going. I
Mm-hmm.
set out to make this film. I promised that this film would be made, and
Mm-hmm.
that was my end goal. Um,
Well, part of the problem was COVID happened, and
yes,
that has rattled so many people, and it's hard to crowdfund
yes, it is.
during COVID. You know, um, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me for crowdfunding, and I had to turn so many people down because it's like I just can't, I just can't. Financially, it's rough right now, but I do know that your prosperities for your project would have been a lot easier and a lot better had COVID just excuse my language, but fucked off before it decided to come.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But nonetheless, you had to regroup, and you got Kathy Podwell from Night of the Demons into this, and that, of course, had Linnea Quigley, of course, since
Yes.
you mentioned her, doing some very strange stuff in that movie.
Yes. Very memorable, strange stuff.
I got an autographed picture of her from that movie. Because when I did Horrorama, I got the VIP, and so I went both days, and so I spent a little bit of time with Linnea, and I bought a picture of her in that pink dress with her ass turned towards the camera and her looking over her shoulder.
Yeah. Her famous first scene in the movie.
Linnea's quite a hoot.
She is. She really is.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I got her to sign. I know when I met her, I got her to sign my Silent Night, Deadly Night Blu-ray. And I know she talked when I interviewed her about trying to hold her breath while hung up on those antlers.
Yeah. I've heard those stories. Yeah.
Yeah. But getting back to Reunion from Hell, it must have been hellish trying to put stuff together. Talk about the prospects of trying to do this, especially during the pandemic and having to regroup.
Well, regrouping, it was grueling. I was on the phone. Sometimes it seemed like 24 hours a day.
Yep.
Um, but I was determined. And
Hmm.
Kathy Kathy is a godsend. I love her. I cannot say anything bad about that woman. I do not think she has a mean bone in her entire body. Um, she's just amazing, amazing to work with, and I feel so lucky that after she read the script, this is her first horror film since Night of the Demons. So it's been
That's
33 years.
since the 80s. Yep. What
Um,
brought her back?
well, the way I got in contact with her is I emailed her and she said, send me the script. And I sent her the script. And a day later, she came back and said, yes, I want to do it. She thought the script was very unique. She thought it was potentially groundbreaking. It was different. Um, she tells the story that, she went off to raise children and be a mother, and
Hmm.
it was all about timing. She tells the story that she had always said that once her youngest graduated from high school, she has no excuse not to get back into acting. Well, her youngest graduated in May of 2020, and I contacted her in June of 2020.
Oh, perfect timing.
So it was all like this perfect storm. Like it worked out. And
You
she
know
loved
what?
it.
I gotta say too, I admire the fact that she was able, because there's a lot of celebrities out there. They have their kids, and some of them can balance it, but there's a lot of them that really are absent, and
Yeah,
the whole spotlight ends up taking first place. So I admire the fact that she was able to step away and do what's important. I did a tribute to Audrey Hepburn on here, and I had her eldest son on here in 2017, I believe, and and he had said one of the things I remember he said saying about his mother is that Audrey was the kind of person that she would prefer to do one thing right as opposed to many things wrong. So she, of course, took time to raise her kids.
exactly.
So I admire what Kathy had done. Me, there's a reason I only have a cat and no kids. I can't deal with kids. I'm lucky to deal with my cat. He's around here somewhere. I think he ran and hid the moment I got in front of the computer because he knows I'll stick him out in front of here. Yeah.
But yeah, Kathy was she was a godsend on this film.
Mm-hmm.
Now looking back at it, especially we're heavy into editing now, and looking at the footage and the dailies, and I couldn't see anybody else playing that part now. She just fit perfectly in that role. Um and I feel so lucky to be the one that is able to reintroduce her to the horror community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've told Kathy several times how thankful I am for her. And she's like, no, I'm thankful for you because you brought me back. And so it's kind of a mutual love thing there.
So talk about directing your first film. What made you want to direct this as opposed to just write it? And what were your steps
Well,
in this process?
um, I've been in theater I'm a theater brat.
Mm-hmm.
For over 20 years, directed theater and acted. And I always said, if I branched into film, I would want it to be my own. Um, and it was a challenge. It was a challenge to direct the film, write the film, and be in the film. It was a challenge. It was new stuff every day that I did not know I was going to face. Um, but with everything that I faced, at the end of the day, kept pushing, and we got the film made. So that was the end goal.
So once you get that film made and you go through the editing process and whatnot and all the post production, how satisfied do you feel knowing you've got that first film done?
Uh, it's an extremely satisfied feeling. Extremely, just so satisfied. It's kind of funny because this journey with Reunion started a little over a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
right before COVID hit, and we shot in October in Louisville, Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
and we shot for 11 days. Um, and we all became like a family on that set. Um, we all became very close. And, my DP on the film, Sam Hodge, I cannot brag about him enough. He's amazing. And we were very much on the same page as far as lighting and shots and, how I wanted the film to look.
Mm-hmm.
So he was another godsend, and at the end of the day, now that we're in post production, it's still work,
Mm-hmm.
but the hardest work is behind me now. So it's a great feeling.
Now, there's a lot of filmmakers. I know Alfred Hitchcock did this when he was a filmmaker when he was alive. He'd do a lot of oh, why am I blanking on what they call? Oh, storyboarding. Did you storyboard when you went to direct, or did you just do it on the fly?
I did not storyboard. I had the visions in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wrote the script, so I had the visions of how I wanted the scene to look.
Okay.
And me and Sam sat down and we would talk each morning before we'd start shooting, and um we had a very, very good working relationship. and as far as my concern, Sam will be my DP on all of my future films. I'm actually assisting him on his first film that he's directing this summer.
What's that one
Um,
called?
it's called The Hag Witch.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yes, I'm going to be fully behind the camera on that. Kathy is also in that.
Okay.
Um, Andrew Duvall, who played the Wishmaster, he's
Okay. Yeah.
in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's one celebrity that hasn't been announced yet, so I can't announce it.
That's fine. That's
But
fine.
yes, me and Sam and his fiance Jonna, who was the boom operator on set, and we just really filmed a family unit there. So as far as my concern, he'll be back for any future films, and they asked me to come on board for Hagwitch, so it was an honor.
You know, that's half the battle won right there, when, because like I said, this was your first time directing, so it's really important to have people around you that really know what they're doing, so that it leaves less for you to have to concern yourself with.
Yes, yes. I felt very comfortable. Like I said, me and Sam would sit down every morning, and it's kind of funny because I'm not a morning person. I have to have
Neither am I.
coffee.
Yeah.
And we one of the main locations we had for the film was big enough for it was an Airbnb. It was big enough for the cast to stay in. So we all stayed there and we lived together. Um, and he would basically meet me as I was coming down the stairs first thing in the morning before I could get coffee. And I'd be like, let me get my coffee first. Then we can talk about it.
How many coffees?
Um, you know, oh,
Sometimes it takes more than one.
yes. And we where we shot in Louisville, we shot in old historic Louisville, and we did not realize until we got on location and started shooting exactly how close to the airport we were. So we would be doing a scene and it would be coming out perfect, and then we'd have to call cut because the boom mic picks up everything, and it would be an airplane flying over, so we'd
Yeah.
have to call cut, and then they like, okay, we got to go back and redo the scene. So there's a lot of funny bloopers
Oh, you
that,
have a blooper reel.
yes,
Okay.
there was a lot of hilarious behind the scenes stuff being said and going on.
Okay. That's funny. Um, so how much coffee did Kathy have to have in the morning?
Well, it's that's another funny story. Kathy was she first of all is like bubbly personality, just ready to go. And the first morning there, because we came in 2 days before principal photography began.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the first morning there, we all arrived late the night before. So me and Kathy got up and we go to the kitchen and realize there's no coffee. There's a coffee pot, but no coffee. So we're like, we gotta have coffee. So me and her went to Starbucks
Mm-hmm.
and got coffee, and we had a real, and then we went shopping for the house together, and it was just a real bonding moment. Kathy
Mm-hmm.
is just so loving and so caring, and
Did anybody recognize her?
no, no, no,
Okay.
but we were behind masks.
Oh, but you know what? Jeepers. I'm already trying to forget COVID.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You would be wearing the mask.
Yeah, and she tells she tells this story. Obviously, like I was saying, she got out of acting to raise her children,
Mm-hmm.
and she lives in Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes to, I guess they call them Trader Joe's out there. It's a grocery store type thing. And her checkout boy one day was just like staring at her. And she said that he eventually was like, "Are you Kathy Podwell?" And she was like, "Yeah, who are you?" And he was like, "I'm just the biggest fan." And she was like, "How do you know me?" And he was like, "Night of the Demons." And she was like, "Night of the Demons? What?" She had no idea for many years Night of the Demons had become what it had become. So
Mm-hmm.
she was shocked. She's like, "What? How do you what?" But she is very much embraced now that she knows what Night of the Demons has become. She's very much embraced the fans, and she's very thankful, and she's just amazing. I cannot brag about her enough. We talk on the phone at least once a week. We text just about every day. So
Yeah. Well, you also act in the film. Now,
mhm,
talk about taking on you're the lead, right?
I am. Yes.
Okay, now that's a major thing because you're the lead in a film and you're directing the film. Now, of course, we know people like Woody Allen do that sort of thing all the time. But for you in your first film, how much of a challenge was that?
Um, it was not a huge challenge because I'd been doing it for so many years,
Okay.
theater wise.
Okay.
Um, the biggest challenge was, again, Sam Hodge, having him on board was just made it a lot easier. We were, like I said, on the very same wavelength. But the biggest challenge was, when we would cut, having to say, okay, I want you to do it this way, or, it was that was the biggest challenge. It wasn't a huge challenge. I mean, it was just I had to go out of character mode to go back into director mode, and then
Mm-hmm.
cameras would roll and I had to go back in character mode. There's one very intense scene in the film between me and Kathy,
Mm-hmm.
because she plays my mother in the film. um and it's a very, very intense scene, and think we ended up doing about 20 takes of that scene, getting all the different angles and everything. And I can remember we would call cut, and I would say, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to talking. I hate talking to you like this." And she's like, "You're playing the character. I know it's him, not you." But it was a very intense thing. It turned out one of the most beautiful scenes in the movie so far. But it's a very intense. It was me and her both had to go to some very dark places for that scene, and
Mm-hmm.
at the, I'm thankful that we saved that scene on that particular day for the end of the shooting day, because at the end of that scene, when we finally got it, me and her both were like, we need to walk away for like 15 minutes and collect our thoughts. And, because we had to go to some very intense places to get that scene.
What will horror film fans expect out of this film?
Well, I will say it's a huge love letter. This film is a huge, huge love letter to the films like Scream, Halloween. It's just a huge love letter to the films that I grew up on and inspired me. But I can say the horror fans will expect, it's It's a roller coaster ride from start to get, 3 minutes into the film until the very last reel. It's a roller coaster ride. I can say they will laugh. They will hate certain characters, probably. And then they'll, scream. There's some very, very just, it's funny when we got on set, you choose a mask for your killer.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize how creepy it is until you're actually shooting the scenes, and you're like, okay, that's really, when they're in the full get up, that's really creepy. And he's coming at me with a big buck honey knife.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say fans, I think they'll really enjoy it. It's kind of weird, and it made me feel, I don't know, just like it was meant to be, because Scream had such an impact on my life. That film had a huge impact on my life. It was the first horror film I ever saw in the theater. And when I met Nav Campbell, I asked her about a Scream 5. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, I don't think it'll ever happen. Wes is gone. I don't think it'll ever happen. Well, fast forward to a year and a month later, I was shooting Reunion from Hell while they were in Williamton, North Carolina, shooting Scream 5.
Yep.
So it was very like, oh, this is like meant to be or something. It was just a unreal feeling. And I can remember the very first day of shooting, that very first scene with Kathy, just this unreal, like, okay, I'm on set with Kathy Podwell, who played Mrs. J.R. Ewing for 4 seasons on Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathy, I mean, it was like it was like riding a bike. Like, she never forgot it. She just came back and I mean, there's a few scenes in that film when we were behind the camera that she went with that character that gave us, all of us, we all were in agreement, just gave us chills, her performance. I think this is really, for her, going to be a big role, like a big film. I think fans will love seeing her back, and this is a very different character than Judy from Night of the Demons. So
Mm-hmm.
You really get to see a lot of her acting chops in this film.
Well, since now you got this film in post-production,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any designs to direct the next film? And if so, what kind of project are you interested to do?
Well, there is a next film. There is something in the works.
Okay.
We're not announcing it into the premiere weekend of the film, which is in April. We're
Okay.
premiering the film in Nashville, Tennessee, at a little theater called Full Moon Cineplex. They specialize in horror films. That's where I saw Victor Crawley when it was on its world tour.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy's going to be there. The whole cast and crew is going to be there. There is, I'm working on the Hag Witch,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something else in the works that I
Okay.
cannot announce just yet.
That's fine.
But the announcement's coming, and I think people will be excited about it.
Okay. All right. So are you nervous about the premiere for this?
Um, Obviously, yes. I am. but on May 1st, we premiere April 30th. We do
Mm-hmm.
the red carpet premiere. And then May 1st, we're doing a fan screening event, and tickets will go on sale for that on March 12th, where the fans can come and screen the film with the cast and crew. There's going to be a Q&A session afterwards. There's going to be autograph session, all of that. And for $12, they get the whole shebang. Obviously, the theater seating is very limited because
Mm-hmm.
of COVID, but I'm more nervous about that night than I am the night of the premiere, um, because it'll be the first time fans get to see the film.
Have you watched it?
We are about halfway done editing.
Okay.
So I have watched it all the way up to about the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. I think the lighting is going to remind a lot of people, and I've heard this from people who have seen the trailer, reminds them a lot of Halloween. And a lot of people, it's been a great response to the trailer that, people have come to me and said, for this being my first film, they didn't think it was going to look that good, or, it's been a great response to the trailer.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. And of course, after Hagwitch, of course, you got another project coming. When are you going to approach that project? Do you have plans?
Oh, yes, we start filming that project in October.
Ah,
It's
hope.
already secretly been casted. Everything's already secretly been done. We just haven't announced it yet.
Any genre names like Kathy? You
Kathy
don't.
is coming back. I'll say that.
Okay. Yeah,
And there's a few others.
that's awesome.
Which I want to save kind of for the surprise when we
Mm-hmm.
announce. But yes, it's already secretly been casted. All of it's already been done. So we're ready to go.
Yeah. I think I was on this as a associate producer, so I don't know what the perks were for that. But but nonetheless, I was looking. I noticed one of your executive producers was I'm going to butcher this guy's name. Be the director of Social Distance.
Yes.
I'm going to butcher his name. It's pretty bad too because I got him coming on in March.
I cannot pronounce his name either. So, but yes, he was one of the executive producers. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm a co-producer on that film, so I think he'll forgive me for butchering his name. But I haven't gotten involved in any of these projects for a long, long time. But nonetheless, when I saw the trailer for yours going up, it kind of took me back there because I haven't been following a lot of these.
Hmm.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the first time I talked to you, I was in studio. I got to admit, I like this though. I don't have to book studio time. I could just book it when I'm ready. And
Exactly.
yeah, so I kind of like the setup. Um, I do like your background though, with your little banner and your Selena poster. Are you a Selena fan?
I'm a huge Selena fan.
Of the artist or the movie?
Of the artist.
Okay.
Yes. Which obviously I love the movie too. That is the theatrical poster
Mm-hmm.
from 1997.
Well,
Which I'm
I remember when that came out. I did not, I still haven't seen it, but I remember when it came out because I think it was released along the same time Jennifer Lopez did Anaconda.
it was actually Jennifer Lopez was shooting both films at the same time. She
Okay.
would shoot scenes for Selena, and then she would go down to where they shot Anaconda and shoot scenes there, and then come back. So yeah,
I
it,
did see Anaconda.
yes.
Yep. But no, I haven't seen Selena, but it matches good with your banner. You're a lot more classy there than I am here.
Well, I'm actually just in my bedroom, so it's kind of funny. I have movie posters all around my room, so it just happened to be you got Selena.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
um, but yes, I'm a huge fan of her as an artist. She is a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh,
I don't know. I already got
an
storyboarding, so
idol,
you're
I guess you can say. She's an idol, and I look up to her. Of obviously, her life was taken far too soon. It's a
Yep.
very sad story, but she lived life to the fullest. And one of her things she said in an interview is, and I've stuck by it, and I really stuck by it during the making of Reunion, was if you have a dream, don't let anyone take it away, and the impossible is always possible.
Hmm.
So I will say, yeah, I had a lot of criticism because of earlier. It was my first movie, and
Hmm.
some things went wrong during early pre-production,
Hmm.
and a, I had criticism about it, and I was just wanted to make it right,
Hmm.
and continue with the film. And that I feel at the end of the day, when people see this film, and I think that's when they've seen the trailer too, they're like, okay, yeah. Um,
Yeah, that was right about the time I stepped away originally, but nonetheless, I have been following a whole lot of anything until I got doing the whole Zoom thing and getting things back in order. So, but
well,
nonetheless, it is nice seeing the trailer for it, and that yeah, it does look good.
well, thank you. And last weekend, like I said, was my first con back. Felissa watched the trailer, and she was like, "Oh my god, I want to see this now." She was blown away by the trailer. Amelia Kincaid and Linnea Quigley. I was with, first of all, I was with Sam Hodge and his fiance at that convention because we had to do some pickup shots for the film. So the convention was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they live in West Virginia. So it was like a halfway point for us meeting. So we were like, we'll meet, do the convention, or do the convention, do the pickup shots. Um, and Amelia Kincaid and Linnea, Amelia actually filmed herself watching the trailer and sent it to Kathy. Um, and they were doing a Night of the Demons panel Q&A, and out of the blue, Linnea like called us out and was like, "We've inspired new filmmakers, and that's amazing. And they've brought Kathy Podwell back into the scene, and we weren't expecting it, but it was very, very nice."
Linnea is all about the unexpected.
Yes.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. She is really awesome. Did she draw a lipstick on her face in heart form?
No, but I'm sure
No.
if somebody would ask her to, she maybe would. I actually did a photo op with them in their costumes.
Oh, was
I'm
Linnea
not.
wearing the pink costume?
She was, and Amelia was wearing the black wedding dress. Um, so that was interesting to see them back into the costume, and um, Amelia actually is trying to talk Kathy into doing. Kathy's fixing to start doing more conventions. I can tell you that much.
Hmm.
And Amelia is trying to talk her into doing the costume photo op with them of her dressed up as Alice or Judy in the Alice costume from Night of the Demons.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathy's considering it. Um, like I said, me and her, we talk. We really formed like a parent-child bond, I guess you can say.
There you go.
We talk text almost every day and talk on the phone at least once a week. We had a interview together this past week on a podcast, and
Yeah, I noticed you did Scotty McCoy's podcast.
now
He's
I'm
been.
doing Scotty's. Scotty's is Wednesday.
I've had Scotty as a guest 5 times here on the show, so
Yeah.
yeah. So you're in for a treat. Scotty's great.
Yeah,
Scotty's great.
Scotty reached out, and I'm always grateful for anybody that reaches out and wants me or Kathy or any one of us to be on their show. I can call Kathy up and say, "Hey, can you do this on this date?" And she'll say, "Yeah, sure." Kathy's all ready to go. Um,
I haven't had her on yet. Eventually, I'll have to get her on,
oh,
but
she would love to do it. She would love to do it. I know Billy Gallio, who was in Night of the Demons, he
mm-hmm,
plays Sal. He has a podcast, and
mm-hmm.
she's done his show several times. And Kathy is she's a joy. She's a sweetheart. She's just, I can't say enough good things about her.
Well, you're gonna be in good hands with Scotty. Like I said, he was on my show in last month, and I've had him on 5 times. I usually have him on in January. He's been on January 5 times. He's kind of one of these ones I like to start the year off with, and he's the only one I know of who shows up to work. I've never met him personally. I'm just going by his Facebook pictures. Takes pictures of himself smiling at work, and I'm like, you know what? There's not enough coffee to make me do that.
Exactly.
Yep, but he does.
Funny story, and I told it the other night on the podcast that me and Kathy were doing. We
Mm-hmm.
were asked about some of our favorite scenes on set.
Mm-hmm.
I have two funny stories on that.
Okay, share.
It was the first one, it was Kathy's final night of shooting. It was a long night shoot. We had been on location. It was maybe 3, almost 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, and we had this huge special effect. The special effect goes off. There's complete silence for like 5 seconds. And then all of a sudden you hear Kathy say, "Fucking A, that was so fucking cool." Like just out of the blue. And I was like, "Please tell me cameras were rolling when she did that." And they were like, "Yeah." So we got it on camera. I mean, because Kathy was very, we weren't expecting it. And then, our second story is after one of the night shoots, me and Kathy and Jeremiah Lee Steinhardt, who is another actor in the film, were coming back from the shoot to where we were staying, and we were hungry. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, so we were like, we're going to go through Taco Bell. None of us thinking we're covered in fake blood and cuts,
Oh,
and
gee.
it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We've been out on a shoot, and we order our food and we drive up to the window, and the look on that guy's face when he saw us, he was like, "Y'all need to go to the That was the first thing he said. "Y'all need to go to the hospital." And we all just died laughing. We were like, "No, no, no, no. It's fake. We're shooting a movie."
It reminds me of a story comedian Dale Hilton told me. I think he was shooting, if I remember correctly, Kiki Meets the Vampire. and I think that was the one. And gets killed in it. And when he was done his scene, he went to a nearby gas station there where they had the bathroom to get himself cleaned up. And there he's showing up there, his guts hanging out and stuff like that. Everybody there is like staring at him.
Well, I will say that especially on a horror film, you're
Hmm.
shooting long nights, you kind of lose your perception of time and
Hmm.
you forget that you're in that makeup that,
Hmm.
you know, so by the time you finish for the night, you're like, I'm hungry, or, you just forget. Um, and we all got a huge laugh out of that. That poor guy, he will probably tell that story for the rest of his life, how these actors came through the drive-through covered in blood and cuts, and I mean, we all looked pretty rough. So
I suppose you didn't get that on film.
no, 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 no.
That would have been something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um that was just one of those moments that I wish we would have gotten on film. It would have been perfect for like a special feature, but no. I mean, we had forgotten that we were just hungry. We were tired and we were hungry and just didn't think. So,
When this film comes out on DVD and Blu-ray, you go do a commentary track or anything like that on it?
yes. We shot a lot of the interviews and stuff while we were shooting the film for, the making of the film. We shot those interviews on location, which we're going to shoot some more when we're in Nashville for the premiere. Um, and then me and Kathy, we have at this time 12 distribution companies interested in the rights.
Oh, nice.
um which it's just blown me away, and I don't know if it's the fact that Kathy's back that attracted them to it, or they're all waiting to see a screener. So and we've had one distribution company, basically he's seen some stuff and he's like, if the rest of the film looks as good as this, I'm definitely making an offer. So that blows my mind as a first time filmmaker that it's getting that response from distribution companies. It's unreal. And it's, somebody asked me early on, you know, what I hoped for the film. And my answer was, it's not about fame. It's not. My
No.
hope for it's not about the fame, it's not about the money. My hope for the film is that people see it.
Hmm.
That's my goal. People see it, they enjoy it. Some people, may connect to certain characters in the film, and at the end of the day, it's just getting my vision as an artist out there for the fans to see.
Is there a high body count?
There is a high body count. There is.
I imagine you probably get that question a lot from horror
um
fans.
One particular death scene, and I'm not gonna give it away or anything, but one particular death scene, and I was on set, I was there watching it,
Hmm.
be done. I was watching the special effects and everything, but when I watched the footage, I cringed. Like it's a very, very effective death scene,
Uh-huh.
and I think a lot of people are gonna cringe, and it's gonna be something that people talk about. That scene is definitely, like I said, because I was on set watching it be done, the special effects be applied, and watching it on film is completely, and a nod to my special effects person, Derek Worley. He was amazing. And a nod to that actor or actress, I won't say,
Mm-hmm.
that's getting killed in that scene, their performance. So
There you go. Well, you know what? I was glad to get you on here today, and you're going to have fun with Scotty McCoy. I can assure you of that. Um, but nonetheless, I got to go on IMDb because I got to put that credit on my thing.
yeah,
Nonetheless, uh, I enjoyed the trailer,
I'm so
and
glad you liked it.
yeah, and glad I stayed connected with it. Uh, but like all these projects, I haven't exactly stayed connected because, well, I'm now getting back in the thick of things. So
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
starting to get in the hang of the Zoom thing, and I'm really getting addicted to it. I got to say this. So,
well, COVID happened, and COVID, I mean, for lack of a better word, just fucked everybody.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it did. And
I'll tell you this: I had done 101 interviews in 2019. It's not my record, but it was great. The station closed on March 20th, 2020. My last interview was March 18th, and I had done 30 interviews. And I was so on my way of doing well. And I had I think a list, but about 30 people
mhm.
that were waiting to come on my show. And I was like, this fucking pandemic, it,
And
yeah.
making a film in the pandemic, that was interesting. Which we shot in October, but everybody had to, pass a COVID test before they
Mm-hmm.
could come on set. And we were very cautious. Like I said, we all lived together for the entirety of the shoot. Um, and it was kind of funny. Kathy actually wrapped, and none of us knew this, it wasn't planned, but she wrapped her shooting on the night, which was the anniversary of Night of the Demons opening.
Oh, wow.
And none of us knew it. The way somebody, Kathy tells so many stories about Night of the Demons.
Mm-hmm.
And, somebody brought up, well, when did that come out? And they Googled it. And when it got its big release opening, it happened to be the night that she wrapped shooting on Reunion from Hell. So it was
There
kind of
you
weird.
go. Well, that is awesome. That is awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing this film. And like I said, when you get your next project um, in the works, I'd gladly have you back on. I'll reach out to you probably around this time next year and have you back on and look at the Selena picture there behind you. And
Well, it could be something else at that time. Who knows? I'm always changing stuff up. So
there you go. Well, it's good to be unique. My background will remain the same until I'm in my eventual place. This is kind of temporary for the time being. But oh
yeah.
well, not fancy,
Um,
but fine.
hey, it's a roof over your head. That's
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we're supposed to get a house with my younger brother and his wife living upstairs and me living downstairs with my cat. That's the plan. That's a housing
mhm.
project. We're supposed to be have done that a couple of years ago. I mean, there's been setbacks, and then COVID happened. So, and of course, the parents not being well, my brother has been looking after them. So, um, that's taken its toll. So I'm kind of here temporarily for the time being, but so hopefully maybe I'll have a different background next year. Maybe, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm so thankful that you reached out,
mhm.
and just I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Um,
Well, when your first interview is ready, I'll send that out. And of course, that was the basically the first draft of production.
yes.
And then now this is the second draft, so to speak. This is the post. So yeah, a lot has happened since then. So but I thought I'd reach out and have you back. So I'm glad you're doing well. Glad that you went to a convention. That tells me that things are looking up. So that's good.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, they had all the safety measures in place.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, it was nice to finally, after a year of being, kind of cabin feverish because you couldn't do anything, to actually be able to go to a convention. It was really nice.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, is there anything else you want to add before we close off?
Um, I would just like to say, I hope everybody enjoys the film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, keep an eye out for the Hag Witch. I've read that script. I'm glad I read the script during the day. It is very, very scary script. Um, it's a very different horror film that I think horror fans are going to love too, for
Okay.
sure. So if you go over to, they have a Facebook page, the Hag Witch. Just type in the Hag Witch, and you can follow the film. Um, but I really think it's gonna touch with a lot of horror fans.
And
I'm
where can and where can people get in touch with you?
They can, well, there's several ways. One, they can look up my regular Facebook, which is
Mm-hmm.
Hayden Newman. There is a Facebook page for Reunion from Hell, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's a group page for Reunion from Hell. And I'm also connected to the Hag Witch page. So any of those, you can get in contact with me. And my biggest thing is, I want to thank everyone for believing in me that did, and for taking this journey with me. And it's been a fun journey. It's been a hard journey. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of work goes into it. And like Amelia Kincaid said last weekend, um, filmmaking is not, it's not as easy as people think it is. It's constant work. And I feel very, to have it done, I feel very accomplished.
You think your next project will go smoother after stuff you've learned on here?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes, so much more smoother. The first film was definitely a learning experience. So yes.
Are you go direct and act in the next one?
Well, I can't announce what the film is, but yes, I am. I am. So
Okay.
I cannot obviously announce what the film is yet, because we're doing a surprise announcement. So I will tell people to keep an eye out for it.
Okay.
Um, and like I said, Kathy is attached to this film
Mm-hmm.
too. I can't drop anybody else's names
That's
just
fine.
yet,
That's
but I
fine.
can drop Kathy's officially,
Mm-hmm.
because she is involved. So
There you go. Well, you know what? It was nice to have you on here today, Hayden. Of course, we look forward to Reunion from Hell, which had kind of a hellish production, but
hey, yeah,
you got you've made your film, And not everybody can say that. But you made your film, you acted in it, and you got it ready to go. So I mean, that's something to be proud of. And
I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of my cast, my crew. Yeah, we did it together. Um, and that's what I like to tell all of them. My success or is everyone's success. We all came together as filmmakers and made this film. Wasn't just one of us, it was all of us together as a team. And I'm very thankful for them.
well, thank you so much for coming on here. And like I said, we'll watch your progress. And next year, we'll see what's happening. I'll have you back.
Well, thank you so much for asking me to come back. It was an honor.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? As if there's anything else you want to share before we close off?
You know, just everybody stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hang in there. I really believe things are starting to look up and get better. And just I'm so thankful for everybody's support, and I hope they enjoy the film.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we've been talking to Hayden Newman, director and actor of Reunion from Hell, and moving on to other projects coming up, secret stuff coming up that we're going to talk about next year. So Hayden, thank you so much for coming on here today. Very much appreciative, and great luck in the future with everything you're doing.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. God bless, and you have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.